to start, I have a question to Lisa and for Jack with that. How do you suggest for the participant, or perhaps for the company, that they have a limited budget, but the era need us or need them to follow the pattern, to follow the pattern, and also to the rhythm of the business? Yeah, what do you think? This is for the first question. Just simple answer. And after that, we go to the chat room. Okay, Lisa first.
Yeah, so that's one of the things actually that we thought about last year, because when you're in a pandemic, you're also trying to save on cash, right? Because that's very important, so that so the money you generate, you really put it into the right investments. So simple things like that we did, for example, in HR, was we created the UR circle, which I mentioned earlier. So this is really powered by Facebook. So what we just did was we created a private Facebook where we encourage all of our employees to join. So there was no cost at all. So now we have more than 2,000 employees now joining the UR circle. So what does that do? So a lot of people nowadays, they communicate, they express their feelings through Facebook, right? So anything that, sometimes you would see people showing pictures of how sad they are, or what they're eating, or what they're doing to keep themselves fit, right? And so when we created that private Facebook for our employees, people were actually sharing what they were doing. People were counseling each other for those that needed counseling. And even within that very simple exercise that we did, people got engaged. People who from Thailand, who never met somebody from the Philippines, finally got to meet and chatted in Facebook, right? So I think that's why I was saying one of the very critical element that we need to really embed in our organization is innovation and agility, because concepts like that wasn't created by me. It was created by one employee who said, oh, people are talking in Facebook, so why don't we use this platform to engage people within the organization, right? So that was just one idea that came from an employee, and he was very agile. So in a matter of, when he gave that idea, in a matter of a week, he stood it up, and then, we started generating a lot of feedback. So I think for me, I agree that technology does require investment, but there are many things that if you use people's creativity and agility, I think you can create great ideas on how to engage people.
All right, then. Before we go to Fochewi, we have, I think, a related question with mine, that from Riza Miagao, that many companies are struggling to stay afloat during these challenging times. That said, they have no ample budget to create amazing workspace, to engage with consultant or expert in the development of effective training programs and engagement initiative in the digital world. How do you get the emotional commitment of diverse talents to deliver and bring value to the organization? Yeah, I think it's related with my question as well. So what do you think, Wachekwi?
Yeah, Hakim, thank you for this. I think, first of all, the examples that I showed you on engaging our people doesn't cost you a lot of money. When I'm talking about, investing in a Google spreadsheet is free. Yeah. Investing in creating this wellness application. But the cool thing is that there are vendors out there in the startup world who are trying to get a piece of the user base. So in fact, for the wellness app, I'm not going to do any promotion to any companies, but these companies are giving it to us for free. They are just asking us, use us rather than using the traditional methods to go and to see a doctor. So the point down here is that cost is not the main challenge. The question down here is that if you are in a smaller company or if you're in a bigger company, you see, the thing is that the good news is that Lisa comes from a big company. I came from smaller companies, right? So it gives a good balance. And in my observation and my previous experience in big companies, I realized this thing: if you are in a smaller setup in HR, as a professional, try to focus on the big win first. In a bigger company, focus on the smaller win first. The truth is that in larger companies, there has been entrenched processes, entrenched methods of doing things, to get the whole thousands of people to start on your initiative, work on the small win to get that buy-in, right? I mean, of course, Lisa talked about, management, we got to be more open to accepting ideas. That's one way. But for the HR practitioner who is trying to come up with initiative, big companies, small win first. Small company, you only have very limited budget, so focus on the biggest win with a little bit of investment.
Yeah, and maybe I'd just like to add as well, because if you quantify, for example, using a learning management system where you do virtual learnings and you compare that with trainings, classroom trainings where you hire external vendors, you have to produce materials. When you quantify the cost, you would see that it's actually cheaper if you do virtual learnings.
Yes.
And it's the same thing also with what was shared earlier, because when you do an health app, you don't need to go to a doctor who's probably more expensive because it's a telemed, right? You call them and you get advice on what's causing your headache or your cough. And so from an employee perspective, it's cheaper because I don't have to travel.
Exactly.
From a company perspective, it's also cheaper because you don't have to retain very expensive doctors. So I think it's again a different mindset, right? So really, really first think about what the employee experience you want to deliver. And then I think as you go and look at various initiatives, you'll find out there are more cost-effective, more efficient ways of doing things using technology.
Yes, correct. So